This episode of After Dark is brought to you by Netflix. For a free 30-day trial, head on over to netflix.com/GamebreakerTV.
Netflix, baby!
Gamebreaker TV.
Everybody, and welcome to Gamebreaker After Dark, your source for all of your Twitter questions answered tonight because Skype hates us. Tonight joining me, man, why don't I get these memos about really cool glasses? I'm just coming in with normal, whatever. Mr. Josh Allen, aka Lore.
Hey.
Are you trying out to be a member of fail. It's slipping my mind.
Yeah.
Joke's over.
I think it was SMDH. That means shake my damn head. Oh my god, damn! What the hell am I doing here? Jesus.
And wearing some awesome engineer specs this time around, Mr. Darnell.
Yeah, I'm a robot all up in this. Oh, and it's the stuff. Boom, 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 boom. Gonna point my finger like that. Gonna do it again like that. Because the ladies love when I point my finger like that.
I think this is going to be a really long show at this point. So let's just jump into it. As I said, unfortunately, we ran into some major technical difficulties, so we will just be answering Twitter questions on this episode of After Dark. But for those of you guys who haven't checked out the show, every week we try and answer you guys' questions live right here via Skype. But this time, looks like we're just going to turn to Twitter. So,
I just want to point out, wait, real quick. I just want to point out that he's like, oh yeah, Skype issues. It had nothing to do with Skype at all. It was nothing wrong with Skype. Skype is absolutely fine today.
It was kind of Skype. Can't I just throw blame and not say it was
everybody's Skype is messing up. Where'd I put this cable?
You guys.
This cable is hanging here. Does it go somewhere? Damn, Skype is stupid.
God damn it, EA. Why'd you ruin After Dark?
It's all EA's fault. It's a conspiracy. EA is trying to bring us down. All right, let's throw it right over to Twitter and see what you guys had to say tonight. So Ashley Hickston wanted to know, I got to ask because it hasn't been mentioned yet, what are your thoughts on the new BlizzStore mount? Ugly as sin or kind of cool? He's specifically talking about the goat mount, right? Oh, wait, that was horribly framed. Let's see if I can get this over. This one, right?
Yeah, I keep forgetting it exists.
That has to be.
Why does that have one boob?
It's to impale your enemies on, duh.
Because that's how you kill things in World of Warcraft. You run over them with your mount.
Do they expect people to actually pay for this?
I mean, it doesn't look terrible. It's just
it looks
kind of forgettable.
It looks terrible.
I could see someone liking it.
They just threw a whole bunch of random stuff on just one mount. Like everything else is cohesive.
This kind of looks like your armor-beared sprinkle mount with a breastplate of doom.
There's nothing random about that. There's a armored season 14 triple X something whatever things I said that one time. That's what that is. It all makes sense. This is just like, oh, let's just throw some horns on a something fuzzy with a uniboob, and then. Why don't we throw one cloud too? There we go.
They've had some cool mounts in the past, you know, like, I don't want to say the Winged Guardians is one of my favorite, but I think the Heart of the Aspects mount was good.
Disco Line. You hating on Disco Line?
Disco Line? Where's Disco Line?
Yeah.
That what?
The Celestial
Which
Steed?
one's the Disco Line? I don't know.
No,
that's a damn...
Oh, right. Yeah. Haven't seen BlizzBooze in a while because someone stopped doing it.
That's what you meant.
Celestial Steed was cool. I felt like Celestial Steed was kind of the cop-out because everybody wanted Invincible, and they were like, well, you know what? Everybody can't have Invincible, so we're just going to give them a consolation prize. You can have a mount. You can have Invincible. It just isn't Invincible.
Wait, you mean not everybody has Invincible?
We all can't be really cool. Comparatively, though, I gotta say, I think the Swift Windsteed is probably one of the weakest mounts that you would pay $25 for. Each one's kind of been cool. They've each kind of had their own thing, but this one is a goat riding on a cloud. I'm not compelled to pay $25. I mean, what?
Damn. Hold on a minute. That's the only one I don't have. Damn.
Now you gotta pay. You're stuck.
How much money have I spent on these mounts?
They're just gonna keep coming out, and
it just keep. Hold on, man. Hold on a second.
You know what I think would be great? I think it would be great if they came out with your mount that you created and made you pay $25 for it. That would be the ultimate irony.
Hell yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, with the flying mount. Yeah.
$25. Okay. Let's see.
That's a wonderful close up of a dragon chest. Does that one have a breastplate to do? Someone had to buy Diablo. There's at least another $35-$40.
Buy Diablo. No one buy Diablo. The disco line. Okay, yeah. See, okay. All right, now I'm not so bad. It's not so bad off. All right, now I'm fine. I'm good.
You're not gonna pick this next one up. You're gonna let that one pass?
Nope. Pink love, baby. That's all I need.
All right, let's move on here. Thomas Vu wants to know, what is your favorite point of view, first or third person, tactical, etc., for an RPG/MMORPG, and why? By the way, great show and keep it up. You guys got a preference on point of view for your RPGs?
There hasn't been a ton of first person MMOs, like MMORPGs.
Mortal Online.
Like, yeah,
I mean, you don't zoom your camera in?
EverQuest at first was like...
You don't zoom your camera in all the way?
I don't play in first person in World of Warcraft or in Guild Wars or in Sword. You can't even do that in Guild Wars. They were like, nope, can't zoom in that far. It's just going to be your character stupid. There still. Yeah. I honestly don't think that the perspective is so much like a preference as it is part of the gameplay. Like, PlanetSide 2 could have been a third-person shooter, and it probably still would have been pretty fun. They made it a first-person shooter instead because they decided to make the game a first-person shooter. I don't really have a preference. It just seems like they seem like different games when you put them in different perspectives like that.
And Josh, I don't know if it was you that talked about it or maybe it was MikeB, but I remember when we were talking about the Elder Scrolls MMO and how people's controversy was, first person, third person, what is it going to be? And we talked about how playing a first-person MMO is, especially when you have the option, is incredibly foolish because you're restricting the amount that you can see and comprehend, especially if you're raiding, you need to know what's going on around you. And if you're limiting your field of view to right here, you have no idea what's coming on around you, and it's not going to really make you an effective raider or even PvPer for that matter.
Yeah, and a lot of people will say that like it makes it feel more immersive or something, which I get. Like, it's more realistic, right? Because you're not really able to see what's directly behind you. And that's true, yeah, you're not able to see what's directly behind you all the time, but I can do that. I can't just glance around in a hurry like that in a first-person mode in a game like World of Warcraft, and you just still have no idea what's going on. So I don't know. Like, I would love to see more MMORPGs try and break out from the typical, third-person, hotbar, etc., environment, but if there's an option to go third person, that's what people... I mean, look at DayZ, for example. Even the most hardcore DayZ players will say, you got to go into third person because the other guy is in third person and he's going to kill you because he saw you coming and you didn't see him. So...
Yeah, but that one you switch back and forth. It's kind of nice that you have the option to sit there and you decide, okay, well, if I'm going to low crawl on the ground, it might be a good idea for me to go ahead and go third person point of view, but if I'm aiming at somebody, that's different.
Yeah, well, and I guess that kind of is also, like, it depends on how you actually cast your spells, too. In a first-person perspective, using a hotbar style, that would just kind of feel clunky, I think. But that may also just be because the entire industry has been doing third-person hotbar for so long. In something like DayZ, you are at least encouraged to switch between third and first person regularly.
Now I see a lot of people in chat, and obviously you guys mentioned, you know, DayZ kind of a shooter, not really, but a lot of people referencing Quake and other shooters. But something that's kind of interesting to think about is even though shooters are technically a first-person game, as far as I can remember, going all the way back to GoldenEye, and I know that wasn't the first shooter, but even GoldenEye, in a sense, wasn't just first-person because of the prevalent radar, and that's still prevalent in first-person shooters today. Even though, you know, you're here, you can still get a feel of what's around you based on blips on a radar, and that to me is even goes beyond just being solely a first-person style game, because it's about being able to perceive what's going on around you, and that I think is key.
Versus everything else, like versus a first-person shooter, because in MMOs and most like games like that, you have spells that get cast around you, and just like Lord said with Raiden, you got to know what's going on so you won't stand in the fire and you look like a dumbass. So it's kind of the same thing when there's a ring of frogs. You're like, oh, I gotta get out of that. But if you're in first-person point of view, you might miss that. So, you know, third person, it just works depending on what the play style is. It's not like in Modern Warfare you're gonna have some kind of AOE effect that's gonna take time to actually, you know, fully cast or whatever, and you see it coming.
Yeah, well,
like,
and even,
boom, you're dead. And
in things like Modern Warfare, there's things like grenades, but there's an indicator on your screen that says like, oh, there's a grenade, it's at your feet, because they actually put in an indicator to sort of make up for your lack of quick peripheral vision, like just glancing around, which you can't have in a game like that. At least not yet. I don't know. Maybe eventually, what is it? The Oculus Rift. Maybe when that comes out, people will be able to do stuff like that with it. So you'll be like, oh my god, I'm actually in the game. Oh my god. Could be cool. Could suck. We'll figure that out later.
All right, let's see here. Next up, Shane Rutherford asks, do you think that Blizz is blind by the fact that people really don't like daily design? I'm going to throw this your way, Josh. What happened to customers are always right?
Well, okay, two customers. Oh, I beat you to it.
Oh. What happened? Two customers are always right. Ah, I get it. I hate the phrase "the customers are always right" because the customers are usually wrong. Straight out, just laying it right out there. The customers are usually wrong, especially in game design. People, especially in MMO game design, people tend to go, well, obviously, like, rogues need to do way more damage than they do right now, and that may be the case in, like, certain cases, but if they just straight up went in and buffed rogue damage, that probably wouldn't fix all of the issues with the class. There's more going on there. If they were just, like, I could see an Affliction Warlock saying, you know, Affliction Warlocks need to do more damage, and there would be a lot of other people that disagree with them. And the fact is, there are people who like dailies. There are plenty of people who like dailies. There are people who are saying that Mists of Pandaria is the best expansion yet because there are so many dailies. So it's really just coming down to the fact of what they need to figure out isn't that... what they need to be working on here isn't so much that they need to stop putting dailies in the game or something like that. They just need to not make them as required, which they're actually doing in patch 5.2. The new Valor gear is not tied to the new reputation in patch 5.2. It's tied to the... well, it's not tied to the daily reputation. It's tied to a raid reputation instead, which you can get through running LFR, I would imagine. So they're moving away from that. It's not just that daily quests are a bad idea, though. And I see so many people looking at 5.2 and saying, more daily quests? Blizzard, haven't you heard that no one likes daily quests? Which is A, wrong, and B, not what they're doing anyway. So there you go.
Darnell, do you have any thoughts on... Darnell, do you have any thoughts on daily quests? Nope, just a joke.
Nope.
Don't confuse me at the beginning and try and be all jokey, or I'm gonna think you have something to say.
I did have something to say. I'm done.
Gosh.
Two customers.
Two customers. That's all that they're tailoring everything for is the two people. I literally forgot my thoughts. I'm just gonna throw it out to the next question. So Jacob on Twitter wanted to know first. What's up, Darnell? What's up?
Oh, what's up? What's up? Death Key. I can't even see it. Where's it at?
What's up? If raid rep is a go, how do you think they will handle it? This is kind of just, you know, just what we were talking about. Between LFR, normal, heroic, do you think it's going to be the same or different? That kind of breaks it down a little bit farther. Josh, I feel like a lot of people are going to feel like it should be separated. but based on Blizzard's history of not wanting to require the people to feel like they have to run 25 mans to get better gear, I think that they are going to embrace the same philosophy. If you get more rep out of running normals and heroics, people are going to feel obligated, like they have to participate in that to optimize the amount of valor that they're getting each week. Or would you disagree?
I think that how it's likely to end up being implemented is that both LFR and normal/heroic will give rep, and that will lead a lot of people who want the Valor gear to immediately say, I need to be running both normal mode and LFR. I think we're going to end up in the same sort of boat again. Just kind of my gut feeling is that we're going to end up with that design again. The question is whether or not that Valor gear is stuff that people who are running normal raids are even going to care about that much. And we're going to have to see what the Valor gear ends up being in terms of item level once it actually comes out. It's possible. It's also possible that it's stuff that, at least if you're doing heroics, maybe you'll just replace that gear right away anyway. Not 100% certain just yet, but I'm expecting at the very least that both LFR and regular raids, I guess you could call them, will both give reputation. And if you want to get rep as fast as possible, you'll be pressured into running both.
It just has to be something that's just good enough to hook casuals, that's all. Like, hook people into saying, okay, I need to go and get this, but enough people to do it, but not necessarily, I mean, because the people who are hardcore raiding every single day, they're like the 1%. So I can implement something to keep that 1% playing. They don't give a damn about any of them. They're gonna try to get as many people as possible. So to get something there, right now we don't know what the things are, right?
Yeah, we don't know what the loot is yet.
Yeah, so it's gotta be something that's just almost as good, but maybe not quite, but stuff that makes it worth it.
So yeah, that would be ideal. I don't know. I just kind of feel like what it's going to end up being is the things that we've seen in the past, where it's probably going to be the same item level as the gear that drops in normal mode, which means that normal mode raiders and even heroic mode raiders who are really, really pushing progression are probably, like, it'll probably be around 504 or higher item level, I would imagine. So maybe even higher than that, maybe like 510 item level. Not sure, but it's probably going to be something that people are going to want to run both. That's just kind of my gut feeling of where I'm not terribly happy about it, but that's kind of my feeling of where it's going to end up.
Do you feel like that's going to somewhat fall in line with their design of not releasing a raid tier this time around, thus not allowing the item upgrade system? Do you think that could be playing kind of into their calculation?
You mean they are releasing a raid tier, so they're turning off the item upgrade system?
That's what I meant.
Okay. I think it's partially, yeah, I think that ties in with it, because they want people to be buying the gear when the raid tier comes out, and then later they want to enable the Valor gear. I need to spend more time really mulling over the whole no item upgrades thing at first, because honestly I kind of feel like there's a better way to go about this whole system, but that's a much larger topic. That's actually going to be the topic for the Weekly Marmot this week, so that I won't take half an hour of the show to go over that right now.
There'll be a separate show just for that.
Yeah.
All right, well then, let's just check back in over at Twitter. Alex Brown wanted to ask, will Trials Gold have a negative impact on the quality of tracks coming to Trials Evo? My PC can't handle Trials Gold.
How do you know?
That's what he says.
Oh. What the? It just has to be better than a damn Xbox 360. Everyone's damn, my iPhone is better than the Xbox 360. Come on.
So you don't think that basically the route that they're going there with Trials is going to restrict players at all from being able to participate? I don't know. I don't even know what the difference is. Can you, what's the difference here? Because I don't know what's going on with Trials Gold. I am not a part of Trials.
Oh my Jesus. Oh my Jesus. Okay. So it's a game where you got a motorcycle.
I know what Trials is.
All over the place.
I'm saying what's the difference?
Jumps and the ramps and everything.
I hate you.
And then what happens is the things get really hard and you get mad and you start throwing controllers at the screens and start kicking things all over the place.
What's Trials Gold?
So Trials Evolution and Trials HD is on Xbox 360. And so what they say is, oh, well, you know what? There's a whole bunch of ass people on PC that probably played the hell out of this game. And there was a PC player who was like, yeah, we played it. We played it. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, of course we. Yeah. And so they're like, okay, Trials Gold, and they put it on the PC coming soon, sometime 2013. And all it is just it's the same damn thing. Well, actually, but with most stuff though, it's like Gold, Trials HD, and you can have the motorcycles and the donkey and everything. Very important to have donkey. But the quality of tracks. So the question specifically is, the quality of the tracks go down because on PC. Have you seen the quality of some of the tracks that are on the Xbox? Some of them are really bad. I'm not gonna lie. Some of them are pretty bad. There's some good ones, everything, but some of them are just damn so bad. So no, I don't think it's gonna be any different between the two of them. It's gonna be the same. There's gonna be good ones, and then some's gonna be just shit.
I can't wait for Candyland in Trials Gold. It's gonna be the best.
But that comes with user-generated content. You get some people who spend a lot of time making really good tracks or whatever the case may be, and then you get some people who are like, hey, look, I'm really cool. I made a wall and told you to climb it.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of potential for tracks to possibly end up being better in Trials Gold, just because there's only so much you can do with if you're making a track with this thing, there's only so much you could do compared to actually having like a mouse and keyboard and all of that. So I imagine there's going to be a lot of potential, at least. I don't know how far Red Lynx is going to take the editor when they port Trials over to PC, but I imagine that, assuming that the editor is there and everything like that, because I really don't know enough about Trials Gold, but assuming that there is an editor, and assuming that they don't just take the editor from Trials Evolution and put it on Trials Gold, there's a lot they could do with it. They could make the editor a lot. Shut up. They can make the editor a lot better than it is right now, a lot more fully featured than it is right now, so that people can do more with the tracks. And you can already do like a million things, like people make first-person shooters with this thing. With this thing.
Yeah, you're like, wait, this is a game about motorcycles, right? Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be the. My guess, you need to go.
I need to get me on some Trials. All right, fair enough.
I wonder if it's gonna be cross-platform. If they're gonna have like shared leaderboards between Trials Gold and Trials Evo.
No, because that will hurt everyone's feelings. Because everybody on Xbox has so much more experience and everything.
All right, let's throw it out to another Twitter question. Actually, this next Twitter question is brought to you by Audible. I don't have a banner. Where's banner? Cheating banner. For free 30-day trial, head on over to audible.com/Gamebreaker. You guys can get yourself a free audiobook. This question brought to you guys by Audible. All right, Phil K wants to know, does a free-to-play model make MMOs less prone to failure because no publisher has to release sub numbers?
Isn't that kind of the other way around? Isn't it like less subscriptions means you're failing, not failing means lower sub? That seems kind of backwards to me.
No,
like
you're saying if free to play, they don't have to go ahead and say how many people are playing the game. So because they don't really say how much it is, or because the number is extremely inflated, they could just go ahead and say, yeah, like 40 million people play a video game, because sure, maybe 40 million people give you their email address and that's it.
Right, but if nobody's playing the game, nobody's playing the game, regardless of whether or not you say nobody's playing the game or not.
But let's not pretend like it's not gonna. It's gonna suffer from all the when companies make a game, they talk about, oh yeah, we have 18 billion active accounts and active players, when really they have like 100 million subscribers, and those are way inflated, and I don't know who's playing those games, but they'll obviously inflate based on accounts that they have as players versus people who are deterred from actually subbing because they don't want to pay for it the money.
See, I don't really know about that, because you look at World of Warcraft. Oh, World of Warcraft down to 10 million subscribers. Everyone goes, World of Warcraft is dying, I'm canceling my account. You say SWTOR up to 2 million subscribers. They're like, oh man, SWTOR is so awesome now since the free-to-play model came. That's a number I made up, but still. I don't know, it's it seems more like where the numbers move in relation to each other has the effect, not necessarily like people want to know if people are leaving or if they're coming back. And I don't even think they have to release sub numbers. Like, what did we ever get actual sub numbers on Rift? I don't think we ever actually have. Like, we've heard them like hint at stuff. Like, I remember when Rift first came out, they were like, well, we know where all of those 600,000 players that just left World of Warcraft are. But I don't think we've ever gotten actual sub numbers out of them. So I kind of feel like if a publisher just didn't want to give out their sub numbers, they just wouldn't. Like, regardless of whether or not they're free to play or not. I don't know. It doesn't. It just kind of seems like a backward question to me, I guess is what I'm saying. Where the failure is based more on, is the game fun to play? Is this actually a good game? And not so much, is this number where the number should be? I don't know.
But you said it yourself when World of Warcraft lost all these subscribers, people are like, oh my gosh, it's dying, it's failing. That's what I think he's mentioning is if they don't have to release, we're losing subscribers, people won't have that mentality of, oh my goodness, this game is failing because it lost. But the thing is, it isn't. Out of
is the problem.
Right, but that's what people are saying. But that's what people.
But who cares what people are saying? It's still a successful game.
But that's the general impression, and I think that's what he's trying to get out here is that people claim, and I hear what you're saying. It's still successful, but people's general perception is that it's failing because they're forced to release sub numbers, whereas the free to play model they're not. So people can't have that general impression.
I don't think that even Blizzard is forced to release sub numbers. I think they just do. I don't think they have to. I just think it's a backwards question is all. I don't know.
Don't those numbers come at an Activision like quarterly
They come
meeting?
at an investor conference, but
that's kind of required.
Having the investor conference is required. Having part of your speech about how the game is doing, I don't think they have to come out with the specific numbers. I think they just do because it's such an impressive number that investors know that, okay, 10 million people are playing this game. This is a lot of people. Still investing.
No, but that's a good point. Like, on one hand, yes, they do it because they show off and then the people, share publicly traded company and all that stuff. But on the other hand, whenever it's not doing quite as good, they can come out and say, yeah, so we're in the high of this, whatever. What did he say last time when it was really bad? He was like, yeah, so we're somewhere between like 9 million and 100 billion, something like that.
And the last investor call, they didn't even give the numbers. Someone in chat just XXX, onslaught XXX. Thank you. You are an extremely refined individual. But yeah, he also just pointed out, like in the last investor call, they didn't even say the sub numbers. They were just like, yeah, World of Warcraft's still going. So no, I don't think that publishers are, like, when was the last time we got sub numbers on SWTOR? Like, I don't think publishers are forced to give their numbers at all. I think they do because they feel it's like in the case of like World of Warcraft, when they give it out, it's because they're like, yeah, this is a really, really impressive number. We need to bring this up in our investor meeting so that they know that we have an impressive number of people playing.
But is that a bad sign for someone who has a track record like World of Warcraft who's announcing their numbers and now they're suddenly not? Could that be a symbol that they no longer have a very high number to brag about?
They had announced numbers after the launch of Mists of Pandaria like 4 weeks before that or something like that. It was like a month before that. They just didn't bring it up in the investor meeting, which just basically means that they don't have to bring it up in the investor meeting is all.
All right. Well, on the topic of subs, Phil K had a follow-up question. He wanted to know, is MikeB really going free to play? I heard a rumor that he is letting go of staff. Darnell, if you get a pink slip, I'm concerned for you.
Who the hell said I would? What the? No, I'm my own person.
You're not staff of MikeB?
I ain't no staff. I'm a free man. I do what I want. I go what I want. As long as I guess I stay here, somewhere, whatever. But
so I don't know. What do you guys think of MikeB going free to play? Is that a smart transition for MikeB? I'm not even gonna get it. I really? You guys are gonna let me throw that out there, and you're not even gonna fire anything back?
Does he have a subscription? When did that start? I'm pretty sure everything he does is ad supported.
He does have subscribers, thus he has subscriptions Because YouTube, it has that like subscribe button.
He's just gonna get rid of all of his YouTube subscribers.
That sounds like
a solid business
He's going
sense
free
to
to play and no longer needs those YouTube subscribers. No? Nothing?
Yeah, see, the problem is that everyone here likes MikeB. I'm just letting you know that. But now if he was like, oh, is Mike S going free to play? I'd be like, oh, I thought that bitch was free this whole time. I ain't paid a cent. No. See how that works?
That is how it works. Oh, wait, hang on. I gotta. Here we go. Well, jump all over this one then, Darnell. George wants to know, do you think Mike S will ever listen to good music?
No, damn, no. No, damn.
I'm gonna find some musicals real quick. YouTube. No? Alright, fine.
Mike S listens to some dookie music. It sounds like somebody is taking a dump and they like, oh, I am. I don't even know how to finish this song. I got some kazoo makeup up in here. Yeah. Mike S listens to terrible music and he wears a dress and he likes to blame things on Skype when it's not his fault.
I don't know. This could go either way, but I don't like this, so either chat room's gonna say I'm crazy or I actually do listen to good music. I don't know. Take it for what you want. Moving on here. Sarin wants to know, if your co-hosts were Disney princesses, which would they be and why? Where's Q's cooking show?
Q should have a cooking show.
You think she could? Do you think Q could pull off a cooking show?
I think Q could make an amazing cooking show.
I don't know. Let's get to work on that. Put it up on Gamebreaker Nation.
Was there another question there? Now
we can put it up on Gamebreaker Nation. I have so many things, like so many buttons over here that I can just throw up and plug. We can put it up on Gamebreaker Nation, youtube.com/Gamebreaker Nation, our awesome new YouTube channel. I wish I knew all of the details about it, but I don't.
By the way, I would be the newest Disney princess, Princess Leia. I am beautiful Princess Leia.
I don't want to think about you in a metal bikini.
Damn, yeah. Oh,
I am beautiful, like bull.
About to jump in this ocean and drown.
Beautiful Princess Leia, like bull.
I closed the question. I don't know if we were supposed to say about you guys or about ourselves. I'm gonna go. I don't even know. I haven't thought about these questions. Usually Twitter questions I have enough time to look at and like think about stupid responses.
Well, if I do
First one that pops in my head is Jasmine.
Yeah, Lord.
Yeah.
Darnell, how many helmets? How many helmets? Hang on. How many helmets do you have in your bags right now? Every time I look up, you have a different helmet on.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Don't know, no idea, anything that you're saying. Don't make any sense. No.
Was one of those my rogue? Have you been masquerading as Tycoon, sir?
No, damn, which one? No, damn, no.
You can't even, there it is. He's so sad.
He is. I don't even know. Damn, too much. Whatever. Next question.
Green Cactuar wants to know, what is a feature you wish for your favorite MMORPG to have? Just curious. Mine would be LFG in Guild Wars 2.
Oh, that's the biggest butthurt right there. Everybody in Guild Wars 2 is mad as hell. They're like, oh, there's this thing, blah, 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 3 million boxes, etc. And they're like, by the way, like even on Reddit, it's like TLDR, no LFG. It's like, damn, that's it. Nobody gives a damn about anything in that game. I swear to God, all they want is just for some looking for whatever.
That's actually kind of impressive to me. I don't want to say, obviously there's plenty of justification for LFR and LFG. Blizzard touts about how it's one of their most used and most successful implementations into the game, but it wasn't not more than 6 months to a year ago that people hated the systems because it didn't bring people out into the world, and they were causing cities to become hubs that people never left, and people are missing these features in Guild Wars. Is it something that has become so prominent now for people to expect that it needs to be integrated into other MMOs?
I think it's one of those things that the players would sit around and bitch about and go, man, it's so terrible now. I never have to go out into the world anymore. This is the worst. I remember when I had to sit and trade for hours spamming just to find a group for Dire Maul. And then they get into a game like Rift when it launched, like SWTOR when it launched. I still don't even know if they have LFG in that. Like Guild Wars 2 now, and they go, oh yeah, actually I remember now. I hated this. This is terrible. Please give me LFG back. I don't know. I think it's something that no game has really done perfectly correctly just yet, including World of Warcraft. I think there's improvements to be made there in how they get people out into the world again. But it's definitely something that I feel like games need to have nowadays. At least something better than just a trade channel to like spam and hope that somebody sees what you're saying at the exact moment that they're also looking for what it is that you're doing.
Yeah. Those, oh gosh, hours. It would take you hours just to find people who wanted to go do the dungeon that you wanted to do. I don't know. All right, so favorite feature that you guys would want to see integrated into other MMOs. Let's just assume that LFG is already taken and we can't say that. Is there anything else that you guys can think of that you would like to see integrated? I gotta say, I really like, and I know it was a huge production cost, and I recently had some people in the office who were downloading Star Wars: The Old Republic because they were bragging about how it's free to play, and I've got to say I like the presentation of the story that Star Wars: The Old Republic did, and I would love to see that more. That's why I've taken the time to sit down and read every quest that I do in Mists of Pandaria, because I really feel like they're doing a better job of presenting the story. But I've got to say, I think the narrative was excellent in Star Wars, and I know it's a huge production cost, but I would love to see better and stronger narrative in MMOs so that I feel like I can understand what's going on by just playing the game, not reading up on it after.
Yeah, maybe Tesso can pull that one off. I would honestly like to see in World of Warcraft, I would like to see the real large-scale PvP make its way back in. And it sounds kind of dumb because I'm kind of pulling from something that WoW used to have and they don't have anymore. But I would like to see those big epic battles like Alterac Valley. Like, I'd like to see... we've talked about this a lot on Legendary. I'd like to see AV, Isle of Conquest, and the Wintergrasp and Tol Barad made into big battles that take a while and pulled out of the random battleground rotation and just made into their own thing. I would love to see that back again.
You better mention Terran Mill and South Shore before you start losing that credibility. You know how the internet gets.
Okay, Terran Mill and South Shore was awesome because there wasn't anything else at the time. And there was some really, really good fighting there. But I think there should be more to it than just, here's a town, here's another town. We happen to make the graveyards close. Why don't you guys fight for a while? I think there should be a little bit more to it than just like straight up deathmatch for ages.
But our large scale...
Is that something that WVW was supposed to be taking care of, where it had ongoing fights that just kind of last forever? So tell me, what do you think is different between WVW and AV, and maybe one of the reasons why, you know...
Well, nowadays, AV versus WW is... The AV is designed to be won in under 20 minutes. So that
right. Well, I mean, classic AV versus...
Old school AV. Yeah, it was very similar in old school AV. The big thing is the third faction in World vs. World makes a big difference. Otherwise, there's a lot of similarities between what old school AV was doing and what World vs. World does in Guild Wars nowadays, because there were objectives you had to go and take, right? You had to capture this area, you had to capture that thing, you had to take this. You can, like, I don't think you could rebuild things in old AV, but that would have been something that I would like to see is, okay, they took this tower, but now we can do this other thing and rebuild this tower or something like that. I think having capturable objectives and having the need to defend on multiple fronts when you take over territory are really, really important things to World vs. World. And I think there's ways to get... You can't get the multiple fronts so much, but you can still get that epic, like, large-scale battle feeling if they were to go in and touch up old AV and Isle of Conquest and so on.
And I think the other thing that's really different from even old AV versus World vs. World is the ultimate win. You do get, even if the battles would take a long sense of time, you still had an ultimate, like, this match was won, instead of just kind of being this eternal calculation of, like, tallies and resets and there's a greater, I've always felt a greater sense of winning that long AV than I think I ever felt in what was going on in World vs. World.
When we gonna get like vehicles and all that stuff in other MMOs like PlanetSide? Like we know that they could do like steampunk stuff in World of Warcraft. You know, I mean, obviously we're talking two completely different games here, but the battles and stuff that you could do in PlanetSide is just insane. There's so much crazy stuff. Oh, well, I'm gonna drive in with a flash and jump off and shoot some dude in the face, and then I'm gonna die, and I'm gonna get in a giant mech suit. I'm gonna go over there and shoot some more people in the face, and then I'm gonna die again. I'm gonna get in the Liberator and fly overhead and bomb the hell out of hella people, and we get shot down. And then the next thing I don't even know, drop pod in.
We have that though. That exists in battle, and I'm not saying that they're done to the same style, but we do have vehicles within. They're in.
Okay.
No, but it's different when it's 40 people versus 40 people, right? I mean, when you have multiple factions and one could just kind of surprise your ass. It's like, oh yeah, we got these, dude. We got this. All of a sudden, it's just like, oh damn, no one saw him coming, and oh, it's different. And then there's obviously way more than 80 people on the field.
Yeah, I don't think that Strand of the Ancients and Isle of Conquest are exactly the shining achievements of World of Warcraft.
Of course
PvP
not. No, of course not. But I'm saying that they do have the vehicles in there. The only thing that I feel, I haven't played enough PlanetSide, and I'm going to probably get some flack for this, but the only thing I feel that the difference is in terms of like what they provide you to use in terms of vehicles is they don't have flying vehicles. Now I know there's a difference in the way that they're played and you access it and 3 factions and whatnot, but the only style of vehicle that I feel that isn't there that is kind of present in PlanetSide is something that flies.
Well, and the entire environment is different too, is the problem. Like, getting into the tank in, I don't remember what it's called, the siege engine or whatever, in Isle of Conquest, and going up and attacking is just significantly different than getting a huge tank column in PlanetSide 2 and going and attacking, like, Crossroads or something. It's just a very, very different environment. The situations that you get put in when you're using those different vehicles is completely and totally different. So it would have to be something where they expanded everything out again and they said, okay, in this case, now is a good time to start getting tanks together. And then once these guys get these tanks together, then the other team needs to go and do this thing and blah, 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 and back and forth. There has to be a lot more to it than that.
All right. Next Twitter question we're going to throw over to Mr. TES Master over there because he just wants to put me down for it. Hanson71 wants to know, I love TES. And I even bought a pair for myself. Do you guys have any suggestions for tracks that I should try out?
Who's a TES Master? Wait, what the hell what are you insinuating?
You were the one who was going on and on about how I didn't know anything about Trials, and you knew everything about Trials Gold.
I know what's happening. He's not saying that I'm the TES Master. What he's saying is that he thinks that Trials Evolution is called TES.
No, Trials is Trials Evolution Tuesdays. I'm just saying, Mr. I know everything about Trials. I'm gonna throw the Trials question.
I didn't say I know everything about Trials. You know nothing about Trials, which makes it seem like I know everything about Trials. There's a big difference there.
Darnell, do you happen to know any of really good tracks off the top of your head to throw over to Hanson71? Candyland.
Mm-hmm.
I could have said that. Lore said that earlier.
Try it out. Here you go.
You got any?
What was that? What was that? Lord of the Rings, Isengard. That was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Candyland and Isengard. There you go. Next up, Adam wants to know, what did he think of TISO? Something fresh or just a copy-paste IP cash grab?
Don't we get this question like every week?
Not every week.
And why do we keep calling on TISO? It sounds like some Japanese soup or something.
Let me give myself some TISO soup.
Yeah. I'll
Delicious.
have the rock star roll.
What am I supposed to say? TESO?
Mind, please.
TESO, The Elder Scrolls Online? It's a lot faster to say TESO.
TESO.
I feel like
TESO.
Tesso. I kind of like Tesso.
Sounds too much like Tesla.
That's nothing wrong with Tesla.
What's wrong? Yeah, what's wrong
You
with Tesla?
Edison fanboy. What the hell is your
Yeah,
problem?
what the hell, man? Bet you hate free electricity.
I do. It's awful.
Now, I feel like a lot of people are asking that question right now, and I think it's a very valid question. It's like, okay, the Elder Scrolls Online, yeah, they talked about a couple of features that might be kind of interesting or might be awful. And other than that, it looks like there's a couple of interesting features wrapped in a generic fantasy MMO that they slapped the Elder Scrolls on top of. So that's...
dude. But they've They have hook, line, and sinkered some people. I was talking to someone who's like, I hate MMOs. I hated them all, but I'm so excited for the Elder Scrolls Online. And I turned around to him, I was like, why?
That's because the Elder Scrolls has, like, it resonates so well with people. Like, who doesn't like Skyrim? I'll tell you who. People who are bad at video games. Those are the people that don't like Skyrim. They don't. It's so good. It's such a good game. Yeah, it has issues, but whatever. It's a really, really good game. Oblivion was a really good game. Morrowind, really good game. Like this is a series that's a tried and tested series. So obviously people are going to be like, they're making an MMO? Well, good, because all the Elder Scrolls games have been good, so obviously this one will be good too. But I'm terrified because at the same time I don't want them to pull a Mass Effect 3 on me, man. I don't want them to come out and be like, here's this franchise that you love, but now you have to hate it because this was actually terrible and it ruined the experience for everybody.
Couldn't the same be said for Star Wars: The Old Republic? And you brought up Mass Effect. I was going to say Mass Effect too. I'm not trying to pick on BioWare, but
Star Wars: The Old Republic made an excellent KOTOR 3. You just had to stop playing when you finished it.
Yeah. But that's not an MMO. Like that's I still stand by the fact that I absolutely love Star Wars: The Old Republic as a single player RPG, and the fact that it's free to play and you can play the character stories. There is so much potential to play that game and have a lot of fun, but you stop the moment that you hit level 50 and you just give up on it being an MMO. You play it like a single player RPG. But that doesn't
it was a really good single player. Like, I feel like I got the KOTOR experience out of it is the thing, and that's what I'm worried about with Tesso, is that I'm like, in a KOTOR experience, you were a small person in a big world, right? You were going around doing this stuff, but you're always kind of like behind the scenes. You weren't making the huge changes. Other things were going on that was making these huge changes. Sometimes they were like chasing you, but still. In Skyrim, you have like this significant effect on the world around you, and I'm worried that in an MMO setting, you're not going to be able to kill everybody in the Mages Guild, for example, because somebody else is going to have to do quests there at some point. And like maybe they could do really, really heavy phasing, but then you start to splinter it off, and then you don't have an MMO anymore. So, ideally, they should be leaning more towards giving that Elder Scrolls feeling, and if it means that the MMO part of it suffers, then okay, whatever. But that's what I'm worried about, is I'm worried that they're going to have to make those decisions because they're like, this is supposed to be an MMORPG, so we need to make sure that you can't do this stuff just to make sure that other people can do quests here later or something like that. That's what worries me. Also, the generic-looking graphics and the hotbar-style combat. I guess they're doing something different with the combat than what it originally looked like, but I'm worried. That's it. I'm kind of worried. And I think a lot of people are.
And I think we get this question so much. We get it almost every week, if not every other. And I think the problem is we don't get more information from the last time we get the question. So we don't really have more to go off of other than we want to wait and see. At least that's kind of my impression. All right. Kara wants to know. Actually, I guess this is more of a statement, but Kara said, "At Darnell Sup with Autotune is my new favorite sound in the world." All right. Not a question, but there you go.
Yeah, girl, Kara, my girl, at X and Dara. Shorty. That sounds terrible. Hold on a second. I was like, Shorty. That's much better.
Yeah, that was great.
That was
wonderful.
Good.
That's a song just for you, Kara. All right, Jeremy Quick wants to know, have at Darnell Sup and at Devil. Gosh darn it, stop with these. Have at Darnell Sup and at Devilor considered making a duet? Kazoo and the epic lyrics.
Didn't we do that like 20 minutes ago?
Oh, okay, so we don't have to do it again? All right, good.
We
Next
can
up.
do it one more time if you want to do it, girl. Cause there ain't nothing wrong with doing it one more time. Because the internet asks for us to do something. And I'm kind of a puppet in a sense anyway. So I'll do it for you, internet, yeah.
I still don't like it.
And I think my neighbor's pounding on the door for real.
All right, next up, Patty Anthony wants to know, how did you feel about the recent meeting between VP Joe Biden and the video game industry officials? Great question. Copy, paste. You guys follow that at all? I think there was some, I won't go too on it about it too long. We're running short on time, but I think that I saw some really interesting quotes that were pulled from the day that they met. The one that resonated with me the most is, and I forget who said it, but they made mention that these meetings are going to happen with or without us. And who would you rather have be there? People in the video game industry who've grown around it, been around it. It's their life, it's their passion, it's what they love, and be a part of the conversation, or let government officials who do not care at all about video games deliberate and decide what's right for the video game player. And at first, I was kind of on the negative of I thought it was ridiculous that the video game industries were going and having these conversations. But that, I think, made such a really good point of even, you know, we had EA there, and I'm sure Josh won't say that they were fending for our best interests. But I think it is important that we do consider the fact that we have those people there, because if we don't, we could be in a lot more trouble if we just stay silent.
To be clear, I think that EA's business model is abusive to customers, but I also don't think that they would do anything that's going to shut down the gaming industry. That seems like it would be bad for them too. So they're gonna look out for what's best for EA, and that probably involves things that are maybe not, like in terms of DRM and stuff, it could be bad for the industry as a whole, but it's better than not having anyone there, right? Like, it's better than not having anyone from the gaming industry there at all, because then who knows what could happen, and some random other stuff could go on. I don't trust EA to make decisions that have the customer's interest in mind, but I do think that they would make decisions that have their interests in mind, and I can at least kind of measure what those interests would be. Whereas if there's no one there, if it's just executives in a closed door, or not executives, just government officials in closed doors, just sort of firing into the dark, who knows what could happen. It's kind of a devil you do, devil you don't, or devil you know, devil you don't sort of situation. So, yeah. Do
you think that these companies are going to have a lot of sway or the ability to convince some of the officials that are making the decisions in our favor? I mean, right now there's a huge vendetta on video game violence, and it almost seems like nothing's going to stand in our way or their way.
I think one of the main reasons why there's so many why the video game industry gets picked on a lot by government officials and such is because we don't have a buffer in between to lobby people. And I understand it's definitely getting into some weird territory, but let's think about it for a second. Everyone's heard of the MPAA and the RIAA. We kind of know how they function. And everybody, of course, everyone knows what the NRA is, right? All of these associations, they have lots of money that they could throw around to get things to happen the way they want, right? So they want to get approval of something, they want to sue somebody or whatever, they kind of get away with a lot of things that maybe the small average little company couldn't do. And a small average little company would be something like, I don't know, Electronic Arts or something. No, the ESRB does not count. The ESRB is not like the MPAA or the RIAA. I was going to go and put that out there.
Yeah, it's literally the entertainment's something ratings board is all that is. Exactly. I remember the last two being ratings board. All they do is rate things. That's it.
So we can't put the blame on on guns. So they're going to go and put the blame on video games. And think about this. This is like, damn, this is some tinfoil hat stuff. All right. So look, they see that there's a business here that doesn't have any kind of oversight or regulation that makes trillions of dollars. And I'm not saying like, oh, well, this is like a multi-billion-dollar into hundreds of billions of dollars. No, look at now and forever. This is like a trillion-dollar industry that lacks oversight from some big-ass company that somehow manages to have their hands in everything. So, of course, they're going to go after it until they put something like that up so they get money, get paid. That's why all these things exist. That's why there's an MPAA. That's why the RIA. That's why the NRA. These are all lobby groups. That's what they do. So, it's coming soon to VGAA. Watch.
And
it's bound to happen.
There's a wonderful episode of Penn and Teller's Bullshit where they actually go into and talk about video game violence and its correlation. And I believe they brought up the Columbine shooting. Wasn't that was right around the time and they pinned the blame on Grand Theft Auto, I believe? Or was that before?
I don't remember. It might have been Counter-Strike for that one, honestly.
But it was a video game.
What they brought up is that the violence, and I don't remember the specifics. I wish I did, but I watched this over my holiday break. Was
it was Doom? Yeah, I remember that. It was Doom.
One of the larger U.S. catastrophic events happened before video games were even a thing. And again, I mean, I've made statements before, and I won't go into any more of a rant about it. But I absolutely hate how mindlessly, now I won't say that they don't have adverse effects, but I hate how mindlessly we are getting negative attention on video games in terms of the violence and everything that's going on in the country. I don't like it. And I hope we do get a defense group or something.
And that's that's kind of the thing. I mean, it's
be careful what you wish for, because when you get a group like that together, it's not always all good.
That's true.
Not. You're gonna lose a lot of freedoms.
The RIAA hasn't exactly had the most amazing track record with music enthusiasts over the years. No, I definitely think that it's just they gotta blame somebody, and they're gonna blame whoever doesn't fight back, is what it is. Like Darnell was just saying, it's like, okay, there's nobody that's going to stand up for video gaming rights, and even though these organizations tend to be almost as bad as they are good in some cases, that means it's not there. And when you think about it from the perspective of the politicians, okay, something bad just happened, and the general public wants to know that this isn't going to happen again. That's what they're looking for, is why did this happen? We need to make sure that something like this never happens again. And you look back through history, being 100% honest, it's not going to happen. Like there's no way to make sure that stuff like this is never going to happen again. Is it? Stuff like as long as people are capable of being deranged, like blights on society, as long as human beings still exist, somebody's going to be so off kilter that they will find a way to pull crap off like this. So what ends up happening is they just say, okay, well, we need something. We can't really stop this. So we need to point the blame somewhere so that we can act like we're doing something, because we need to be doing something right now, because that's what the public wants. Maybe that's a little bit too tinfoil hat, but I honestly think that it's just and it is probably not deliberate either, but I honestly think that a lot of it just comes down to, we need to do something here. Here is a thing we can do. We'll do that, and then people will feel better about themselves.
I don't want to keep going on this topic just because I feel like it's going to turn into every single news show out there right now. It's going to turn into the GNN or something. All right, so let's just move on. Let's move on to the next question here. Paul Rice wanted to know if Death Knights use spell power and intellect, would that help solve the Holy Paladin loot table? This has got to be troll.
Am I the only one who read the rest of that sentence after our previous discussion? If Death Knights use spell power and intellect, would video games not be blamed for everything bad? Am I the only one that went there with that?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. That would stop video game violence.
No, it wouldn't, because you'd still need to come up with a reason for them to like Spirit.
Oh.
All right, you could do a Spirit to hit conversion, but then you're talking about creating this extra thing. I don't know. It's not as easy of a fix as that, unfortunately. I'm not gonna go into depth on that one, but there's a lot more that goes on there than that. I did a weekly marmot about it a while back. You can check that, or maybe it was a PSD. I don't remember. Hopefully you can dig that up somewhere.
Just go watch every PST and weekly marmot Josh has ever done. And you'll find your answer in there somewhere. Yeah. It'll only take you a year. Peter wanted to know, hey guys, greetings from a fan from Macedonia. Macadamia? Question:
Damn.
What do you guys think of the future of the Warcraft IP will be after WoW? We just answered this a week ago, didn't we? Didn't we say that? Oh, sorry.
We said that. Sorry, this page doesn't exist.
Didn't we talk about the fact that it's kind of where they're running out of stuff of where they can go, and that's why they're built. They can always build new lore, and the World of Warcraft IP will never be over. They'll just create more to it.
I think Warcraft 4. I think after World of Warcraft is done, I think they'll go to Warcraft 4, honestly. I think there's enough demand for it that, and it'll have been, it's already 10 years since Warcraft 3, right? Pretty close if it isn't. Yeah, I think it is 10 years since Warcraft 3 at this point. I think that was the gap between StarCraft and StarCraft 2 announcement at the very least. Who knows? Maybe at BlizzCon 2013, maybe we'll get a Warcraft 4 announcement. On top of the million other things that they need to announce at this. I don't think that'll be likely, but I think once World of Warcraft is on its way out, that's when they'll come up with Warcraft 4 and some other MMORPG to replace it, which isn't Titan, because I don't think Titan is the replacement for World of Warcraft. I have to throw all that in there because every time we talk about anything like this, I get 10,000 PSD questions. Do you think that Titan is the replacement for World of Warcraft? No, I don't.
All right, Adam wants to know, do you guys prefer commando, boxers, or briefs? Or do you just switch it up to keep it interesting?
All three at the same time.
Whoa. But you can't. I can understand briefs and boxers at the same time, but how do you go commando boxers and briefs?
I wear them like a shirt.
Not even gonna try and picture that. Boxers. Darnell?
Yeah, I'm always commando. Let my bone hang out. You know what I'm saying?
Be honest. That fell off.
You want to know, right? I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. There's a whole
people.
Why do you think I got this big old long thing right here? Why do you think I need that? Come on, you know. See, come on.
All right.
Shake it. Wiggle, shake it. Oh, you ain't no fun. Come on.
Dedenstein wants to know what sort of items do you prefer to see in free-to-play cash shops? Purely cosmetic item upgrades or XP rep style boosts? Items that I don't feel obligated to pay for.
Boost.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with boosts. I like the cosmetic items too. I like just you can make your dude look a little bit different. I think when you start selling character power, like it's kind of a well-known thing, is when you start selling character power on your free-to-play cash shop, that's when your game starts to tank, because people would rather, it doesn't put them in a position where people say, oh, cool, I'll just buy this for $20. Instead, they go, oh, cool, I'll play anything else at this point. So, yeah.
Josh,
boosts generally seem to be fine. That's just something that doesn't seem to push people to that extent. But obviously, like, cosmetic stuff is ideal because it's completely and totally not necessary.
You've talked a little bit about how certain companies have the wrong approach to the free-to-play model. But what do you think that does? Is because, for example, League of Legends and Guild Wars, I have never bought a single thing in the cash shop ever. And to some companies, they look at me as a failed model. I look at it great because I'll keep playing the games and enjoy them, but they're not making any more money off me.
I think it's important to look at free-to-play players as an asset, not as a failed sell. If you look at because they're not a failed sell until they completely stop playing the game, right? It's still possible that at some point you will spend money on the game. But even beyond that, if you're playing, like if you are playing, like how many people have you said you should check out League of Legends before? And that may not be a completely accurate thing because obviously
they made so much money off my friend who started playing because of me.
Yeah, there you go. Like, but and looking at it from specifically our perspective as content creators, that may not always be accurate. But looking at it from my friend plays League of Legends, and he got me into playing League of Legends, and then I bought a bunch of skins. Cool. Didn't really cost them anything. I mean, they have to keep the servers up, but they have to do that anyway. So I think it's really, really important to look at, like, maybe, what is it, like 12 million people playing League of Legends actively right now, something like that. I remember it being bigger than World of Warcraft now at this point, as the biggest game in existence. If 1% of those guys buy skins, Riot is still making bank, because they're still a relatively small company compared to how big their player base is. So I think that's important I think it's important to look at it from that perspective. Someone who is playing your game for free is providing content for the other players. You are an opponent to the other people that you're going up against. You are a teammate to the people that you're playing with. You are a salesperson in that you're going to get other people to try out the free-to-play game as well. You have to consider the free-to-play player as an asset, not as a failed sell.
All right, last up here, final question over on Twitter. Sutter Kane wants to know, do you think that Titan will use standard class selections or take a Skyrim Star Wars Galaxy approach where you level skills by actually doing?
Ooh, that's so far away. Damn.
Do they even have different classes in Halo?
I had to look over to see if you were doing that face, if you were just goading us into that. I don't know.
I have no idea. I don't even know what that thing is anymore. I gave up. Whatever.
Just ignore it all until you get some sort of solidified information.
Yeah.
All right, how about this? Okay, since we're talking about getting more information of Titan, we're looking at a BlizzCon this year after a year-long break, so they've had 2 years to plan. We know that they probably did it because they didn't really have anything to announce. If this year, or what year do you think that we'll be looking at some sort of announcement as to what Titan is at BlizzCon? This year, next year, 2 years? What do you guys think?
What else are they gonna do this year? What else? They have nothing else.
Well, I mean, they could
know about.
They could do a Diablo 3 expansion. I think Diablo 3 is going to be about due for an expansion announcement by the time BlizzCon rolls around. They could start talking about, because we'll have Heart of the Swarm in just a couple of months now, like a month and a half now. Just under 2 months, we'll have Heart of the Swarm. So they could talk about Legacy of the Void stuff for StarCraft. And maybe a announcement for the next World of Warcraft expansion, too. I mean, I think there's lots of expansions they could talk about. But at the same time, if Titan's been in development as long as we are led to believe it is, and they still don't have anything to show for it at BlizzCon 2013...
Final Fantasy 13 versus...
What?
Sorry. Had to clear my throat there.
Yeah, it sounded like you had a little bit of... Are you coming down with the weeaboo or something like that?
The weeboo?
But anyway, no, if they don't have anything to show for Titan at BlizzCon 2013, how many people are going to start crying vaporware on the whole thing? How many people are going to go, well, they're not actually doing that at all. They just scrapped it. I don't know. I'm hoping for Titan info at BlizzCon this year, but who knows?
Not expecting it.
Yeah, that's why PvP wasn't ready for Diablo 3. They're going to save it so they have something to talk about at BlizzCon. I'm just saying maybe.
Just maybe? This year, you heard it here. The news break right here. It's coming this year at BlizzCon 2013. That's what they're saying. Otherwise, there's no point to go to BlizzCon. At Darnell Sup. Follow him right down there at Darnell Sup. He's just going to stare at me blankly and make things really awkward.
At Darnell Sup. I sing you songs about... Okay, I'm going to stop.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Mr. LMAFO, Josh Allen, a.k.a. Lore. Follow him right down there, at Devilore. Hey, Josh, you get a new boss down to get Lishi down?
No. We died a lot.
Well,
Lishi is a bitch. I do not like her at all.
What you got coming on, just a tip? Anything?
Who knows? I need to have time to do that.
You know what's going to be coming on just a tip? Some indie game for your tablets. You can follow me right here at Mike Shavnitz. Be sure to catch After Dark every Tuesday at 9 p.m. PDT, where we try and answer your guys' calls live right here every week. Show's a lot of fun live if you guys come participate. So please check us out. Also, be sure to check out Gamebreaker.tv for all of your video game related news for a whole bunch of other shows just like this one on specific MMOs like World of Warcraft, Star Wars: The Old Republic. Check out Audible.com, YouTube.com/GamebreakerNation, Netflix.com/GamebreakerTV. All that stuff and more. See you guys next week.